So 1490 Doom is played on a 2-foot circle. I'm a chippy, or have been for years, so I thought it might be handy to show the nerds out there how to cut cardboard, plywood preferably, foam XPS circles. Nice, safe and easy way of doing it. Anyway, cracking on.
Welcome to the Doom.
I wanted to go through a couple of things. Simplest way with a jigsaw, but I think it's the most beginner friendly woodworking tool for cutting a circle. Now of course if you've got high-end woodworking kit you probably know how to do this, but this is for the hobbyist with a bit of DIY kit. What essentially it's based around is what's called a trammel board, basically a big pair of compasses. So rather than having a spike and then dragging a pencil line, you have a board with 2 holes in it. This one's got several, so that's the fulcrum point about which we'll pivot, and then an 8-inch, 9-inch and 12-inch point. So if I were to slap that on this big bit of cardboard, arbitrarily calling that the centre, I can now draw a 2-foot diameter circle. It's going to fall off at any minute. Now obviously you probably don't want to do it out of cardboard, because cardboard will warp as you paint it. A general rule, if you're going to paint something, it's going to curve up as it dries. As the material shrinks, it causes to go. So you can moisten the underside, and that will help mitigate that curving. The best thing to use will be ply. If you use pieces of MDF or hardboard, because it's a single material, it will naturally want to curve. Because plies, the fibres run this way, then this way, this way, then this way. That gives it a stiffness, so it's much more resilient to that curving when you paint it. So that trammel board with 2 holes in it is how you're going to draw a circle. If you want to cut a circle, what you're going to want to do is line up the blade of your jigsaw with that hole. So you want that part of your jigsaw to point down through there. How do you attach it? Well, many a jigsaw will have these plates that you can unscrew. You can match up the holes with your board and screw it to it. A thing we often do in carpentry for speed is bang a bit of tape on there. Now I can just slap super glue on there and attach my trammel board. So what I'll need to do is mark up my 12-inch for our Doom boards to be a 2-foot diameter. You need a 1-foot radius. I've only got a small bit of board here, so I've scribed 2 9-inch ones. I'm going to do a slightly smaller one. I've got a small flat. I'll play it with small toys. I'll get into the action quicker. It's just what I've got. And then, you know, a similar process, if you just want to do it out of cardboard, would be to spike the centre and stick a knife through that hole. Or what you can do is just cut into your board a little bit, so you've got somewhere to put your knife. Get a thin saw blade, hand saw, cut a little slot. As long as that point and that point are 12 inches apart, you'll be okay. It doesn't have to be through the centre, just that distance. I'll exaggerate, but because you're drawing a curve, that point will actually be further over. So do mind that. If you're measuring from there to there, you can see the difference there. That's where the blade sits in the machine. So I'll come back a little bit. Rather than cutting all this way, which is the direction the machine will sit, I'll actually cut back that way so that I've got more strength. So that's the point that I need to measure back here. Lock it, and then scribe that line all the way back. So now that's where my blade sits. So 12 inches back. That's our pivot point. So what I'll do now is I'll just do a quick cut through there, so I'm not handling all of this stuff. Right, ignore the clamp, that's just so the jigsaw can point upwards at you. So, super glue, classic. Yeah, I usually keep a bunch of kebab skewers or chopsticks in my gluing kit to smooth the glue around. Also, if you need to fill a hole in a bit of wood, shove it in the hole. I'm making a right pig's ear of this. Make sure you get the glue all over the blade, that will help. And then what I'll do is I'll spray the accelerator on there and slap it on. Keep that nice and straight. Yep, that worked. When I shit you not, that's about a kilo or two, that one. Don't know what that is in American money. Fucking idiots. He got rid of the empire and kept the imperial nonsense. So one of the things obviously with a jigsaw is the blade sticking out, and you don't want to be accidentally going round and then cut into your table. So put your piece on a box that you can then comfortably get round. Maybe the box that the jigsaw came in, or a child hunched over and used their back, or a trusted friend with like a couple of strong hands. Yeah, I'm blaming the super glue for that one. Interesting thing about doing it like this is that if you've got a sacrificial table, you can spin the work rather than spinning the cutting tool. So what I could do is line that up and then spin the workpiece round and just keep the jigsaw in one place. Then I'm not going to accidentally cut into the table and have to get a divorce. I'm going to cut this bit of cardboard for shits and giggles. So I know where the centre of that is, and I eyeball it on the centre of the box. Now, because this is a bit of cardboard, I can just gouge this in. If you were doing this with a piece of wood, you would need to drill a hole there so that your blade can go in to get started. Again, that could be a screw so that it stays nice and strong and doesn't wiggle around. So I can keep moving the tool round, or and that's how you make a frisbee. So what I've done now is measured from the blade over there 9 inches, so I can cut these slightly smaller ones. I reckon they'll be big enough for my wants, needs and desires. a super glue. It's strong, it's very brittle. Get rid of the blade. Now that you've got one, you can just put that on top and then eyeball it with a jigsaw. I don't know, that's pretty precise. So I'm more confident than most, so I've just used a bradawl and spiked it into the middle, which as you see is a bit cack-handed. If you like, and if you've got one single board, put a screw in it. Put the screw in, but not so tight that it's holding this down, or just drill it slightly larger, because it's not biting on this MDF, it will bite on the material beneath, on your kitchen table, or on your child, or your friend's hand. That fucking glue. So I've dashed back home, slapped some cat poo and black paint on it, did a bit of sign writing with some Star Trek on the telly, and then time for the event. There's Zombie Stew, it was Ryan, this is Eric?
But it doesn't have a shield.
Yeah, which one's which? Showing us how to play it. And then over in the background there, yes, that Napoleon Bloody Dynamite. And Macarian Rising, my little froggy sitting in his terrain that he was demoing the game with. This is his book that he had printed up himself from the PDF. There are no official ones as yet. That's a work in progress. But nice little bit of graphics. Can't say I've read it. Just had the demo game. It literally only came out moments ago. You know, the ink's still wet. There's Matt. There's Zombie Stew over the back. Pete showing off Necropolis to the other writer of the game, some Buer games. There's Joe with his skateboarding game. And Old School Terrain. I've got some of them on the go. That's the next one. There we go, lads. Thanks for that. Holding up the little board there. Thanks, lads. Sorry, you can't hear what they're saying there. They were so loud in the room. Fast and dirty little video, handheld. Look at this. Woo, woo, woo. It's like one of Trent's videos. Hello, mate. How you doing?